Women are the real architects of society. A woman who dares to dream can just achieve just about anything that she wishes in this world. And so therefore, women must be celebrated. And thankfully, we are getting all the recognition that we need and all the cheering that we also require to be able to dream and dream as big as we want. Today's woman is you. Today's woman is I. My name is Cookie T. Welcome to the all-new Today's Woman right here on TV3. There are 4 segments that we have on the all-new Today's Woman. The Star Woman of the Week, she's the woman we are crushing on. The Winning Woman, that's our main conversation on the show here every Saturday. The Trendy Woman, we bring you all the updates in the world of fashion and style. Because you're a woman, you need to be updated with the times. And this show is not just for women or all about women. We are including our men as well. With a segment we have coined Men Have Their Say. My name is Cookie T. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we get into the nitty-gritties of Today's Woman. How does it feel sitting on a new couch, which is not political? Tell me about that.
I feel very different. Less stress, less pressure. Totally different.
You don't have to use political jargons and all that.
Well, I mean, I'm not one of those. I think somehow I don't use them all the time.
You are one of those.
Yes,
I've experienced you many times. You give it to the gentleman here and there in every corner.
You just say it as it is, really. So
yeah.
I guess the seats really, they don't make much of a difference, except it's a completely different setting.
Yeah, it is.
And you looking all
Thank you.
elegant. And
This is Today's Woman. Right. So we are here to talk about us, what we have in common, what makes us who we are as women. It's a privilege to have you on the couch today.
Oh, I should be the privileged one.
No, I am the privileged one.
Oh, no, I doubt it. I don't think so.
Welcome.
Thank you.
9 was when politics started for Daddy.
Thereabouts,
How many of the siblings come after you?
Oh, there's at least, there's Clara, there's Emma, there's my brother Sharif, there's Amina, there's Amamata.
5.
And then I have 2 elder sisters, Otiko and Hetty.
Okay. She mentioned Otiko. I'll come there. I'll come to the Otiko side later.
That one is a subject that is not for discussion.
I just wanted to ask, but anyway, so I'll come to that side later.
That's all the
so you mentioned 7, so plus you. How many? So 8 kids in all?
So there's 8 of us, yes.
8.
Yeah.
And you are number
3.
Number 3.
Yeah,
so are there men before you, boys before you?
We only have 1 brother.
Just one?
Just 1 brother. He's our youngest, actually, yeah. He's John Bawa Jr. Most people call him Sharif, but he's John Bawa Jr., yeah.
I want to understand, were there fights back at home over who's taking which shoe, who's taking which bag and all that?
Oh, I'm sure there were all sorts of things. And, you know, my mom was very well organized. And from when I can remember, everybody had a cap in a specific color. Yes.
For all 7 of you?
Because she had to find a way to purely manage us.
What was your color?
I think mine was always green.
Green?
Yes.
Okay.
It was a light shade of green.
Okay.
So you had a cup, you had a plate, and that's yours.
And you dare not wash it after eating, I can imagine.
Oh, you try. I mean, most times, lucky enough, there was always somebody. As when we were younger.
Right.
It was as we grew up that we started to at least help at home. My mom was one very, very tough woman. A great disciplinarian. And as she would put it in her own words, she didn't have a mother. So she has no idea what it is like to spoil your children. Exactly. So ours was a tough love kind of.
So she strictly went by the rod.
Not necessarily, but I mean, that's what she knew.
Right.
You know, your kids had to help at home. Kids had to be disciplined. They had to wake up early, learn to do your laundry, keep your room clean. You know, just a very typical Ghanaian mother.
I can imagine.
Had a pretty hard time growing up and thought that the best thing to do was actually be sure that she didn't spoil us. Yes.
So how did all of this shape you into the woman you are today? Would you say it was beneficial?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I think that life of a disciplined child actually permeates the whole of your life. And life of an organized child would translate into your life also as an adult. And having a stable home is actually the biggest gift of all.
Wow.
Because that is actually what sets you apart from many others. I think for us, we had a great upbringing. For the longest time, my father always made time to teach us, made time to watch soccer with us. I mean, you go to a tennis court, he'd come back and we'll have also conversations I think in many ways, we actually epitomize our parents in many, many ways. And as I tell people, that we're not brought up on a life that was about money.
Right.
We were raised on some very good values, some ethics, and a sense of fairness and justice. And I tell people all the time that when you look at our background, think about the fact that my father was the first graduate, or one of 3 graduates,
Right.
from a village called Salaga,
Right.
all those years ago.
Right.
So it's actually a blessing that we turned out as we did, but it's also because we were his dreams.
Okay.
And for him, that dream had to come true.
Right.
And it's just so, so sad, most often than not, that he didn't live long enough to see us grow up into the kids that we are today. And I tell my son that the only sad thing is that he didn't grow up to meet his grandfather,
Right.
because I imagine how my dad would have loved those kids and loved them, and probably spent his whole life trying to raise them with us. But unfortunately, weren't so lucky. But wherever he is, I know he's enormously proud.
He's watching
and,
over you.
yes,
You're working in
absolutely.
his stead, and everybody is super proud of
It's
you.
humbling, and it's a privilege, really.
Right,
It's
right.
a privilege, yes.
So in all of this, so all this growing up and all happened in Salaga or in Boli.
Oh, no. We actually never lived in Salaga. Neither did we ever live in Bole.
So
no.
all of this was here in Accra?
I was born in Tamale, for
Okay,
example.
okay.
And I think right up to I took my common entrance, we always lived in Tamale. It was after the common entrance that we dispersed into different places. And I think my dad moved here to Accra permanently. So that must have been probably somewhere in 1981, 82, thereabouts. I think for a period between 80 and 81, my mom was in England as well. And she returned to about the same time. So it was just around that time that all the politics happened. And I remember a few days ago when we had this conversation about what happened in Ashaiman, for example.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the 31st December coup, which was just the eve of my birthday, which is New Year's Day. And I remember Mom had all these cakes and she was baking all over the place. And then suddenly we got a phone call that things were really getting bad in Accra. At the time, my dad was just a lowly deputy minister for works and housing. But of course, you can imagine how that changed our lives. And in the few months after that, he would be driven to Nsawam, where you would stay for like a year plus and be a political prisoner for all of that time. Those things affect children, and they really change the course of your lives. And I think in many ways also, it shapes your politics. And so you know that it can change at any time. Things might get better, things might get worse. But I think what is important is for you to learn to stay grounded.
So was it all of these experiences that actually informed your decision to get into main proper politics?
I doubt it. I'm sure that for the life of me, I only wanted to be a lawyer.
And then what happened?
I wanted to teach. I probably wanted to be a judge at some point.
Really?
Yes,
of course.
That's
Counsel.
that's really my career trajectory, at least from where I stood. But you know, sometimes too, God works in mysterious ways.
He does.
And even though at the time when I was in private practice, I think I'd also gone into corporate law, for example. I had gone to do an LLM, and pretty much life was simple and good.
Right.
And then out of the blue, I got to do a job for the US Embassy at the time. A few weeks later, I was invited to come back and participate in an international visitor leadership program. I think that trip reshaped my whole perspectives. I think that trip also awakened in me a certain sense of what society really expects from us and about us. I built a certain consciousness also, maybe also about our politics. And somehow, by the time I got back here, I think that my whole sense of what I really wanted to do was completely different.
Right.
And I was probably open and amenable to all sorts of things. So I think that politics is great if you take the very positive aspects of it. It also has the downsides, especially for a female, a family-oriented person, and of course, someone who's already on a certain career trajectory.
I want to know what some of these downsides are. That's what this show is for you to be able to speak to the issues, for other women to also be able to identify with exactly what it is that we go through just by virtue of the fact that we are women. So tell us, what's been the low moments?
Oh, there's many. You know, maybe I've been lucky in the sense that I've always worked largely in a male-dominated environment.
You have.
So that you can live with. There is also the fact that I tend to think that women must try very hard to receive or take credit for just how good they are in whatever environment you find yourself. So you find your male counterparts, for example, thinking that you probably are very domineering, you act very masculine, you probably should, be a little bit more toned down and less, pushful and all of that. Yes, I'm sure in your field, I'm sure you all experience
all
the same
time.
things that we
All the
experience.
time.
Absolutely. And then there's all the, the scrutiny that you get when you're a woman, for example. And the reviews may not always be positive. Sometimes they will also be negative.
Right.
And I think that in all of this, being raised as a very strong woman is also part of it. And I tell my sisters all the time that your background plays a very huge role. Our mother used to juggle like crazy. I mean, from when I can remember. She was a baker. She was into weighing shea nuts for cocoa board at the time. She had a mango farm. I mean, name it. For many years, we actually only used creams and pomades made by my mother.
Wow.
Yes, so we are actually very well acclimatized, and I think that we are also built for purpose in so many ways.
Right.
And it is also credit to her that we each have the sort of strong views and perspectives that we have. Think about Northern Ghana in the 50s and 60s with a woman like my mother.
Yeah.
Beautiful, whose father was a colonial magistrate. Life must have been very, very challenging.
Exactly.
And I think most people remember how beautiful she still is very beautiful, even at 82.
Right.
And think about her as a teacher in those circumstances and what life used to be like for a woman, especially in our part of the country. So I think it is fantastic that all of us have shaped our lives and built our history more into our lives. And it's also a fantastic example that we can become good adults, responsible adults, and that even in our very small corners, we can be examples for many people. Think about it. When I was called to the bar in 1990,
tell us about it.
there were really
Few women.
I didn't even know there were any Gonjas who were lawyers.
Ah.
I don't remember.
Wow.
But suddenly, I meet so many young men and women, and in many ways they'll tell you, Auntie Joyce, I've been following your career. I really wanted to become a lawyer. And
a lot of people look up to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how are you able to shoulder all the negativity and still hold your place, holding your head up high in a male-dominated industry? I mean, you mentioned the insults will come. Oh, you're too stiff, you're too strong. Can you tone it down a little bit and all that?
Yes,
and especially being the spokesperson for ex-President Mahama, who is looking forward to come back in 2024. And that same bird whispered to me and told me that's your uncle. Is that correct?
Mahama and I are actually relatives, yes.
Yeah, so that's your uncle?
Yes, in a way. But of course, he's so much, not as old, so I would probably see him more
as of a brother than an
uncle. Like an elder brother, more or less, yes. But
I see.
For the longest time, I think that he's always been in my life, really. So I shudder to think sometimes that, I don't put too much premium on that because, it's a very rare occasion that someone that you grew up knowing, associating with, seeing almost every day becomes the #1 gentleman of a country of at least 30 million people.
And you become his mouthpiece.
Well, that is just a coincidence because, I look around me. Okay, so imagine that it wasn't me.
Okay. Who would it have been?
Exactly.
But who do you think it would have been if it wasn't you?
Oh, it was Hannah Tete for a very long time.
Oh, yeah, true. Yes, Hannah Tete.
Yes, and I stepped into very, very huge
So then how did you get into it? Because you were not
that
even doing anything in that regard. You were into law. So then what happened? You just woke up one morning and then Mama says, okay, I think you can do this. Come and speak for me. Oh, how did it happen?
No.
So how did it happen?
Remember that at the time when he became president in 2012, I think I was actually on a consultant job in Point Noir. And all he wanted was an expert who would be a deputy transport minister. So that's how it started. Prior to that, I'd probably just been a communications person in and around the party. I remember somewhere in 2008 for the Professor Mills campaign in particular, when we had to do some research for a group of consultants who had come sampling views in the public service and doing all these surveys and all of that. So yes, in and out, you had some connection to the party in particular, knowing very well that for years my father had actually been a very senior member of the National Democratic Congress as well.
Right.
After the PNP administration collapsed, years later he came in to work with the PNDC for quite some time. I think right up to about 2000 when they lost. So naturally I'll be doing politics, but I'll be doing the politics of the NDC more than anything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's scratch all of that. Politics, the hard talk and all. It's okay. We are done with all that. Let's get to the softer side of life. What's your favorite food?
Oh, I love Gary.
Ha! Yes. Do you know? I was expecting you to say tozafi or shinkafa or millet or something. Gary.
I love Gary.
What's your best version of Gary? How do you make it?
Anyhow.
Gary soakins.
No. I dislike that.
You don't like Gary soakins?
With a passion.
Oh, what about it don't you like?
I don't know. Maybe it's the sugar, it's the milk, it's all those things.
You're not a milk person?
I'm not a fan. If I want to have a cereal, it won't be Gary.
Okay.
But if I wanted to have a meal and genuinely enjoy it, it will be Gary.
Okay, so in 5 minutes, make your Gary for me and let me see.
Oh, I just go home, I fetch like 2 spoons of Gary in a bowl. I plug the kettle.
No, wait, what did you say? 2 spoons?
2 spoons.
That's all you can have?
No, I don't eat much, I'm a very, very picky eater because I've always had issues with my weight, so food is something that I have a very interesting relationship with. So 2 spoons, pour the hot water on it. If it's peanut butter soup, if it's palm nut soup, if it's shito, if it's gravy, whatever sauce there is.
And that's just you?
That's just
so you can eat Gary 7 times a week?
Oh, almost probably. Every day I actually feel like having something. Like yesterday, for example, I had Gary with a peanut butter soup.
I see.
Yeah,
but for somebody who's trying to balance her weight, isn't it a problem? Or
well,
add some vegetables here? It's true though.
Yes.
She said you can't be on that forever.
And I eat once a day. So
oh, just once?
Just once.
So at what point does the Gary come in?
Well,
early in the morning?
No. Maybe I get home probably like 6 or 5:30 or 7 p.m. Whatever time, because I make sure also that if I'm having lunch in town, it will most likely be fish and something. And then that's it for the day.
Wow.
But if I don't eat, for example, the whole day and I get home, I'm most likely to eat Gary.
No beverages, nothing alongside?
Not with meals, no. But I like to enjoy my red wine.
Oh.
I love to drink champagne on a good day. Yes. So
we still have our date.
Yes.
We still need to do it. Yeah, we will do it. The sound of champagne actually reminded me of it. I see. Okay, so she's a Gary person.
Oh, yes.
All right, Gary. Music. Who's your favorite Ghanaian artist?
Oh, that one is always very tricky because there's so many of them.
Why is it tricky?
And I don't know, because maybe sometimes I don't really pay attention.
Okay.
I love the songs, I love the lyrics.
Okay.
But every now and then some particular one comes up that I really enjoy.
All right.
So I think for the last few months it's been Camido.
Sugarcane?
Sugarcane, yes.
Oh, okay.
It's very settling, it's very calming. And I think for a young person, it's a fantastic tune. And then to think about the name even, that's even more funny.
Sugarcane.
Yes, but on a good day, I love Cece Winans, for example, The Goodness of God. It calms me down whenever I'm under enormous pressure. On an ordinary day, the song that picks me up has to be an ABBA album.
Oh.
Yes.
I see.
And the first hit on my radar is about the winner taking it all.
Oh, wow.
Yes. It does it all. It does all sorts of things for me.
I see. Yes. It picks you up all the time.
All the time.
And it can never go wrong with you. No matter how low you are, it would pick you up.
Just look at the words, the first stanza, the second stanza, and you know. Oh, I think about Mamma Mia. And then
I see. So tell me, what do you love to wear on a normal day? If you are not going to court, if you are not speaking for the NDC, on a normal day, if I saw you in town, what would you be wearing?
Oh, you'd be surprised. You probably wouldn't. You walk past me.
I won't recognize you.
No, you wouldn't.
What would you be wearing?
Funny enough that you asked me that question. You know, President Mahama would always say, oh, Joyce, whenever I see you out of trousers, I wonder where you're coming from or where you're going to. Yeah, I love to wear jeans. I have so many pairs of Levi's in all shapes and colors. I love to wear shorts. Yes.
I've never seen you like that.
And I wear my gym stuff like almost all the time. Off duty, yes. I mean, like yesterday, for ordinary days, I'll be in a trouser suit like yesterday, or a skirt suit ordinarily, or my lovely shirt dresses, which I can swear by any day. I learned to wear these ones when I came into government in particular, and I've loved them since.
It came with a job.
Yes, because I also think that it sets you apart in a certain way. Okay. You can make it formal, you can make it informal, it depends, and it goes everywhere as well. And I also believe that it's become almost like a way that we all market something very African about us. You know? I mean, like our braids. I mean, as kids, if you remember, kids didn't want to travel outside of Accra with braids on and all of that, but ordinarily now, we wear them all the time. We love our natural hair. I mean, I haven't had a perm in God knows how long. So,
It's always been the braids.
For
it's true though.
Time. Yes.
I've never seen you really with a different hairstyle.
No, very rare.
It's always been the braids.
Yes, very, very rare. Yes, very rare.
Okay.
Yes.
So, what do you love to do for leisure? Don't say the gym. I know you love to go to the gym.
You'll be surprised. I do a lot of things for leisure.
Okay.
I play very hard too.
Okay, so favorite hangouts. If I'm looking for you on a Friday, what would I usually find you?
After my hangout on a daily basis, you'll find me in a lovely restaurant.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. If I have an hour, if I have 2 hours, if I have a meeting,
okay.
if I want to have a nice conversation, you will always almost find me in a beautiful restaurant. That's one.
What's your favorite restaurant?
Oh, there's so many of them now.
Here in Accra?
Oh, yes, so many of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you would always order fish?
I love fish.
Okay.
Yes. Strangely enough, even though I eat meat, it's not my point. You know, once in a while maybe, but I love fish. I love grouper. I love sea bass. I love the other side of the seafoods. And I love cheese. I think I'm addicted to cheese. It used to be chocolate, then it moved to cheese. So yeah, things like that.
I see.
Yeah.
You know, I was just thinking when you were talking about Gary, I love apple. You know why? That's all we ate when we were growing up. Yes. That's all we ate when we were growing up. I've had so much of it that even these days I don't like to eat it. If you're home, what is it that you're doing? Reading, television?
Up and down and up and down.
Doing what?
Picking up, cleaning, tidying, arranging, rearranging.
No TV at all? No movies?
I'm actually not a TV person.
You're not a TV person?
No. Funny enough, if I start on any of these shows, I'll binge watch. So it means I can't do anything else. So it takes a lot.
Wow.
So like, for example, when I started watching Prison Break all over again, it has to end first.
Right.
Or there's this one about Suits. It has to end before I leave it. You know, I'm that kind of person.
Right.
Yes. On a flight, yes, I'd watch like 10 movies.
Okay, before you get off.
Yes, before I get off. But at home, I'm either working and, you know, I have so much work. So.
Too much work.
Yes.
And that's actually bringing me to my next question. So I wanted to ask, which one came first? Maritime law, transportation law, before being which one came in first?
I think for me, it was always law.
Okay.
Yes, all types of law.
All types?
All types of law.
Okay.
I think I love being a lawyer more than anything else. And I do enjoy the law. I love everything about the law. And I think that it was always, for me, the law first, and then it was maritime law. Because for maritime law, it was actually a very unusual subject, a very unusual area, and it happened purely by accident.
Oh.
Yes. And I think since then I found my niche. Because you see, it's the only subject area that gives you this huge international platform. It will bring out the best and the worst in you. It will take you to drafting international instruments, international conventions, and to meet some of the very best minds ever. So I think for me, that became almost like next to everything that I enjoyed about my career. And I also think that it's also thanks to that, maybe, that I even found myself in that space as a deputy transport minister. And as they say, the rest is history.
I see. So when it comes to law, in some 5 good years, could you probably be the next justice that we would have in this country? Is it possible?
You know,
Chief Justice.
I really don't give that a lot of thought. There are times when I think that maybe I might still want to end up on the Supreme Court, but I'm not too sure. I think I love what I do presently. I write a lot.
Okay.
I teach a lot. I get quite a number of speaking engagements. I love the research that I do. I also have a part-time job with a colleague of mine in a small, cute law firm, very bright lawyer who's a professor of law. I love the part-time business that I do. And I love my day job, which is literally the politics. And you know, ever since I came into politics, more than any other thing, I've become almost like everybody's, you know, go-to person for a mentor, for a coach, for, you know.
You haven't mentored me yet. I'm still waiting. How come it's not my turn?
The best part is that even for you to consider inviting me here,
oh yeah,
must show that there's something about me that you like.
That's correct.
And I think it didn't start from now. From the very first time that I saw you, Bella, and a few of you. I mean, and I admire enormously what the media really has done with you women more than anything.
Yeah.
Because across the country, I think that in terms of representation, the media has done a good job. And it's not just because you're female.
Yeah.
You're also very bright, you're sharp. You do all sorts of things as well. And you can tell lately you guys are doing all sorts of things. It's not just about presenting the news or reading the news or being a broadcast journalist. It's all sorts of things. So I think that we are coming of age. We are making some inroads. There's still so much more to do. We still need sanitary towels for our young women.
Right.
Where we come from, it's a huge challenge.
It is.
Our younger sisters don't go to school because of that. It's also very expensive, and you know, times are hard. In the days of my mom, I remember her going all around and looking for all these things for the girl child, or you know, but not many people can afford to do those sorts of things now.
Right.
So, in contributing our quota, these are things that we ought to remember. We still have things like female genital mutilation that affect our reproductive health as women. These are things we should worry about. But yes, we also need to celebrate the victories that we are chopping as we've gone along. Yes.
I mean, and talking about celebrating women, of course, for 2023, I mean, we are still fighting for gender parity. And this year, we've been told that we are supposed to use technology and innovation, digital, be able to use digitization to be able to achieve a whole lot of things. What actually worked for you? You've got so many people that you mentor, so many mentees who run to and fro, coming to you all the time for information. There are a million of women watching out there. Tell us what's worked for you, and then in today's day and age of advancement and technology, what would be your advice to all of us young women?
First and foremost, take advantage of it.
Okay.
I mean, you run a business on social media, for example. Probably nobody will associate the business with you. But there's a huge market out there. You know, from as early as maybe age 11 or 12, I've always loved to write.
Okay.
And for years, I used to write articles on sexual harassment. And most people didn't even know that it was me penciling all those articles.
You used a different name or something?
Absolutely. And I just enjoyed that. I'd meet people and they'd start on these articles. And you know, this was long before Me Too movement.
What was the name though? What was the name you used to use?
Don't worry. I just might be needing to again soon.
Yeah?
So, yeah.
Okay, so you want to keep that anonymous?
It's the best
okay,
secret, yes.
all right.
So, you know, it's, I keep saying that, you know, when you traverse a journey of many firsts, remember that it's not just about you. And for me, really, my siblings have always been my biggest inspiration. And for everything that I do more because I imagine what it means for them and to them. And when you have children, you also know that you ought to, you know, try as much as possible to live a life that allows them. And for those of us in the public space, it can be hard on our kids, especially at the teenage years and all of that. So you ought to walk the straight and narrow all the time. And no matter what politics you do, you know many people are watching. It's not just you. It's your kids, it's their friends. It's your mom who is 82, it's her friends. It's your dad who's been dead maybe 22 years and it's his whole, you know, generation of people who follow you. And everybody believes that they own a piece of you. But I think maybe the politics was actually just a catalyst to all the many doors that open to you, especially if you build an image that allows for you to be all the things that people want you to be. It's never easy to be an example or to live an exemplar life. I mean, you know, and people probably think it's very easy. It's not. I mean, for example, you can't dress anyhow. I mean, I was at the Mood Bar a few months ago. It was so funny. And, you know, most times people probably don't even know that it's you. But there was a night when someone recognized me and he was very sure.
Oh, you were in jeans and t-shirt?
I don't even remember. And, you know, I'll try very hard to look through them. But he was very sure that, oh, this one, Madam, I know it's you. I'm not going to leave here. I'm very sure it's you. The next morning, I was on Metro TV and he sent a text. He said, wow.
So the station.
You know, so it happens all the time. And, so no matter the circumstances, you know that people are always watching. It's very difficult to hide now, to be anonymous. And some people just leave you alone. I mean, you go to the gym, for example, you see everybody watching and wondering. And I think it's fantastic. I mean, I met a young lady recently. She said, Joyce, you know, just that thing you said about going to exercise. I'm so happy. I'm so different. I said, yes. Because I tell people, if you can't do it for free, there's no way you should pay for a gym membership because you'll never go.
Exactly.
It's only when you work it into yourself. I went to see my former headmistress who was about 83 a few weeks ago. And as soon as I walked, she said, oh, and you look slimmer too. And I thought, yeah, that's so true. Ask people who knew me when I was younger.
Because you don't joke with your working out.
No, because I was about, you know, from 3, I was probably twice the size, And I think that exercise works, no matter what. It helps you to distress, but do it within a time that works for you. I mean, this morning, my gym instructor got home at 5 a.m. I wake up at 4:45 every morning.
So you worked out before coming?
Straight.
How many times a week?
3 times a week is when he comes home.
Without fail?
Without fail, except
3
when
times a week without
he doesn't
fail.
turn up. Yeah.
Wow.
And then if I have time, I'll walk once or twice a week too. Yeah. And my major walks are on Sundays, when I can walk from my home all the way to Legon campus and back, or go to Ebri and back. Yes.
I see. It's been awesome catching up with you.
An absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much for coming this morning. I haven't had enough. Maybe another time we'll have you get into other sides as well. But you didn't tell me, apart from your siblings, you didn't tell me that one person who inspired you when you were growing up, that one woman who inspired you when you were growing up.
Oh, so many women.
Do you want to name a few?
Oh, certainly. My class 1 teacher.
Ah.
Yes.
Are you kidding?
Yes. Mrs. Jenna Larson, wherever she is.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
She still follows me even on social media.
She does?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Right.
Your class 1
my
teacher?
Class 1 teacher, my very first teacher, besides my father and my mother.
Who was she and what did she do that was so different?
She was married to the late Araya Larson, one of the very leading lawyers in the Northern region at the time, who became running mate to Mr. Edubuahin.
Right.
She's actually one of the founding members also of GIS. Fantastic woman. And she still runs a school even in Tamale presently. So yes. And then, of course, all the other people. But I think my biggest inspiration, really, would always be my parents. I had a fantastic set of parents. I can't complain. And to my mom, I always say a very, very big thank you.
Right.
And even at 82, she still makes my life all that it is and more.
Mama, thank you very much. What's her name again?
Oh, she's Shiata.
Shiata?
Yes.
Ah, that's a unique name, Shiata.
Very unique, yes.
So do you call her Shiata or you call her Mama?
We all call her Mommy for the longest.
Okay.
Everybody calls my mom Mommy. I mean, at 83.
Oh, Mommy, that's...
In fact, I even call her Grandma because all the kids do.
Of course.
Yes, so
I
affectionately now, most of us call her Grandma. It's much easier because everybody else does, yes.
I've enjoyed this conversation, but not just yet. Don't go yet. There's a lot more that we have to do on the show. Stay with us. This is still Today's Woman. When we come back, we have something interesting up our sleeves. Stay with us.